Good morning. Okay, so as we know, the malls used to be a place where people used to go for shopping earlier. Then it becomes social places. And now, when we think about how the future is, what the future holds for the malls in the future, how they are going to change, tech always plays a very important role in that. So let's discuss with the panel and understand how they're using tech, what innovations they are making, what solutions they are launching to make a consumer to stay a consumer's preferred place. So I would like to start with Anup. Sorry, yeah, Anup. I want to understand from you, design or tech. According to you, what plays a major role in the success of a mall?
See, design is the DNA of the mall. So naturally, being an architect also, I would say design does write the blueprint of what the mall is going to behave. So, but both of them have to sing along. Design and technology goes hand in glove. And with this, we are talking about future of malls. A lot of innovations are now already on the design board, which we are trying to do. For example, we are trying to build in the artificial intelligence participation into running of malls. I was hearing to one of the elite panelists just in the session earlier where the forecast of things were there. So the biggest thing which malls are now working is they are trying to satisfy the needs of the customers. So malls are getting more customer centric. We are trying to get into a situation where artificial intelligence kiosks are being developed. We are trying some packages, we're already working on that, where we'll be launching where people can be assisted in their decision making process. So whether I have to buy something which will suit me or not, so it's all virtual reality augmentation which is now coming. So design becomes even more important. So when we are envisioning malls and people are looking for new experiences, so designs have to be more adaptive to change. Nowadays, you cannot continue with the malls which look alike the same way for years and decades. So we are coming to a situation where every time you visit next, the design is adaptable to a change where you have a new experience. Because as for me, the malls have now become more like cultural centers. So you have to carry your culture along with, they're just not shopping outlets.
So Rajendra, if you can add to it and tell us how technology has actually helped the malls to stay relevant to the consumers from a really long time and how it can stay relevant in the future going ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. You go back to history of mankind. Roti, kapda, or makan. These were the three basic necessities of life. I think in COVID, the necessities have gone up. Roti, kapda, makan, and technology. I think that has become the future of mankind. So instead of three, now we have four requirements in life, and the fourth requirement is technology. Perhaps no human being, no business can stay away from technology. And especially when you are a consumer facing business like a shopping center or a mall, this business has so much to gain from technology. Consumer facing backend, both parts of the business of operating a mall, and they have evolved over in the last 5 years in the fastest manner. Whether, I will start with the very basic, that whether it's a website, whether it's a social media, Facebook, Instagram, how malls have used that relevant for their business, how they have started using technology for their loyalty, how they have started using technology for their back-end operations of MEP, how they have started using tech for their parking, how they are using the forecasting model for consumption for various categories using all data analytics and all of that, how retailers are giving them inputs that based on our futuristic designs and our AI and our data, which category of products are going to be selling more, which category is going to grow more. All these information system is getting assimilated in the backend, which is helping all the mall developers to actually come up with marketing strategies, fighting around with the e-commerce so that they generate better footfalls in the mall. getting better prepared. I was with one of the malls and he was telling me that they are trying to develop a technology by which they will start predicting the quantum of footfall on an hourly basis, quantum of four wheelers on an hourly basis, so that they are prepared to face that input of inflow of traffic and manage the customer experience properly. Retailers have started looking at which products is going to sell more in this season based on the AI data. So I'm saying, I'm only giving you top view that how technology is helping supporting all the shopping centers. There are a lot of detailing in each of these ways of getting into the technology. But the single most perhaps the shopping centers are trying to get into is the loyalty and the customer data, which they are not getting in its entirety. Lot of efforts is going on in this direction, how to gather direct consumer data, which currently shopping centers are struggling a little bit. They are not very successful, and this is a story not only in India but internationally as well. Customer database, the way e-commerce is able to get, or relatively even a retailer is able to get, the shopping center is not able to get that consumer data. And that is where the shopping centers are now focusing and trying to gather that information by deploying various technological interventions which will help them gather this customer data. When I say customer data, means I don't mean just the name, it's the shopping behavior, the timing, the frequency, the lifetime value of a consumer. All those detailing the shopping centers are now trying to get into it, which will give them an equal edge or a footing along with these e-commerce, which has humongous amount of data already available with them. So each of these interventions in technology which the malls are using, front end, back end, is supporting malls in a dramatic manner. One, to increase their consumption, and two, to reduce their costs.
Well said. So, Gopala, if you can add to it, he has touched upon from the above, right? I want to delve deeper into it. I want to understand there are certain things like foot mapping, where you see heat mapping, sorry, where you see how much footfall is there at a particular place and you decide that this is the right place, that this brand should be given the place, and because we get high footfalls over here. There are other certain decisions which are based on the which I call tech decisions. Which are those decisions? If you can tell us about that.
Yes, good afternoon. So, my name is Gopal. We operate a mall in Tier 3 location. Uh, so, all of you know post-COVID. So, what has COVID done is all the businesses which boomed in COVID are trying to keep the customer in the house. So, the comfort at the doorstep. So, that has still continued. That's still going on now. So while there are technological innovations which keep the customers in their house, so there's been a lot of technology which is available for the brick and mortar store at a very reasonable price now. That's one thing which has helped us. Like what you have asked, what we have understood in the recent past, especially last 2 years, when you look at the consumer behavior, so there is a less attention span and there's less patience. Like, we moved from movie to short films to reels now, reels and shorts. So this directly impacts the dwell time, right? So it's important how the consumer is changing, and we are sensitive to this change. So what we realized is when this is happening, it's very important to have a digital twin of every operation, like parking, and then like you said, the footfall management software, and then a chat bot. The customer doesn't want to wait to talk with your help desk executive. He just wants to scan and figure it out himself. So while all these things happen, so we can track what's going on, what is the age group of the customer. I'll give you a couple of examples what we have done in the mall. Like once we started tracking these parameters, I think most of the mall operators would agree with me. The real consumer today for the mall is in the age group of 2 to 13, 2 years to 13 years. That's what is the age group which increases the dwell time in the mall. So when we understood that, because in India you don't have great public spaces to take the kids, So when we understood that, we had a game zone which is 18,000 square feet. So last year, uh, now we are offering 32,000 square feet of gaming for the kids. And then we started a zone, a 5,000 square feet zone where they facilitate babysitting as well. And then the second thing is even the same thing. We could track the queuing at the food court in the weekends. So what we did is we spoke to an operator. So where he has provided with the software where you can sit in the table, just scan the QR, get all the counters, menus, order, and then the order number is generated. When your order is ready, it is displayed at the food counter. So these things have helped us. But while we understand the customer preferences, one thing we have also done is we have started a deep, what do you say, training program with the employees on how to be nice to the customer. Like if whenever I travel, I keep when we stay in a 5-star hotel, I just ask the guard how much do they pay you. People who are comfortable, they answer. So when you see, I mean, with my first-hand experience, the malls pay equal or maybe a 10% lower than a 5-star hotel. But when you see the level of courtesy or training at the mall is not much. Maybe it's a quite stressful job for a security guard or a janitor. But still, we have invested a lot of time in that. So even every security guard, every employee who makes an eye contact has to wish the customer, say, "How are you, sir?" So I think tech and the shift in the service levels will help us to give a better experience. And also, based on the technology we have to keep changing the categories. Once the lease period is over, I think it's very important we understand what is happening. We're very sensitive to the technology, what the data the technology is giving, and then move forward in the direction what the demand is. It's a quite interesting period because the change is very quick.
So you have beautifully touched upon the technology plus service will lead to the success of the malls in the future. But I want to, when we gauge in the future, we see that consumer is also talking about e-commerce these days. So Madhur, I want to understand from you, can malls and e-commerce players collaborate to give an omnichannel experience to the consumers maybe?
Hi, very good afternoon, everyone. I'm Madhur, and I'm the executive director of the Tapria City Center, which is again a tier 3 mall, just like Gopal has. Uh, we have definitely seen, e-commerce leveraging what shopping centers can do for them, specifically when we talk about omni-channel sales. So nowadays, you would always see this. You were talking about Jholi Wala guys coming into the malls, and yes, and also Swiggy, Zomato is already there. But I think it's time that when we talk it, the way the trends are shaping, the technology is shaping. It is a high time when we introduce smart technology into the stores. Not every store in a mall can afford a flagship store, so the content is limited. The generation which we have currently is, as Gopal talked, very little time span. There is FOMO, fear of missing out. They would always want to know what is the latest trend, what is the latest offering. And once we have that kind of availability from the store, what kind of design it is, what kind of style it is, and in that there are options inside the store. And what is the digital directory from where I can look for options and buy. There are already a few brands like French Crown and others who have started this. You have a digital directory tabs through which you know what fit is right for you, what size is right for you. You can look at options which are available in the store, and at the same time you can have the digital directory, and then you can buy from that same location and get it delivered either to the store or definitely to your house.
This is endless from the retailers. I want to understand from mall's perspective.
No, see, end of the day, from a mall perspective, how will mall gain? If the store's sales happen inside the mall, that is how the mall will gain. Importantly, we have seen people coming inside the mall, looking at options, and then probably looking to buy online. How do you convert them to buy from that store so that the sales are counted in that store is very relevant. So that is the point I would like to make. Another thing I would like to make in terms of how specifically tech can is an enabler. uh, H&M started a great concept called as smart mirrors, where you can decide that okay, this is the shirt you like, and then there are color options, and then there are options of accessories or other things which go well. And end of the day, you have to look at how I can add on to that purchase, how my accessories can add on, how my shoes or something else can add on to that purchase. That is what how you can increase the spend per head. That is what tech can definitely enable.
So, encouraging the retailers to adopt tech and be with them in adoption and hand holding them going ahead, because tech is going to change and drive the footfalls at the malls, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Manish, we have seen that DLF has always been at the forefront when it comes to technology. So, I want to understand how, when it comes to personalization, personal recommendations, this is what consumers are looking forward to. And when we talk about the online, this is how they are also online players also luring the customers. Can malls also do something in this in a personal assistant, a personalized way?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Charu. So, so before we get to the tech side of it, for a minute, let's understand as consumers, there's an underlying behavior that all of us have. Times change, decades change, retail formats changed, but as basic consumers, our behavior remains the same. Our habits might change. Habits is a very different thing, but the characteristic of a consumer to consumer product remains the same predominantly. To further dwell on it, there are two sides of all of us as consumers. One is a need, one is a want, right? So any consumer behavior or our ability to buy or seek a product or a service depends on either a need or a want. Need is something that we want immediately. Want is something which is an aspiration that it's in our mind, it's in our thought. And if we get something, we'll pick it up. So let's understand the need side of it. When someone walks into a mall, there are 2, 3 very fundamental needs. One is, I'm walking with my family, I want a good environment. When I say good, and that's something that DLF always holds at the top order, is safety. How safe is the environment where me and my family are there, right? Why I choose a mall and I do not go to a high street? High streets are great to shop, my personal choice, but malls give a certain safe environment. How the parking, how I enter into the parking, how seamless is the parking, how safe is inside, is the air conditioning working or not? Now, all of this needs a certain level of technological intervention. If I can pay without stopping for 2 minutes at the parking exit, I think it's great service. So technology works hand in hand, it blends into the process of malls. All of us speak about, and all of us will agree that technology today, and thanks to our friends in e-commerce, I think they've really taught us analytics, right? The amount of consumer behavior that is being studied by the e-commerce business is phenomenal. And I think it's helping the industry, be it fashion, be it malls, be it F&B, be it entertainment. I think understanding the consumer is very important. We go back to our old days, we had time for personalization. Our stores knew our consumers by name and by face. In today's fast-paced world, it's very difficult to have a personal interaction. And I think that's what technology helps us do that. Without speaking to a consumer in person, volumes have grown. There are 200, 500 brands in a mall. Consumers in thousands walk in. It's not possible to have a one-on-one interaction. And that's where technology blends in very well. The other part of the business is also about understanding that a consumer has limited time. The ability of a consumer with his family. The wife is there. The kids after 1 hour will get tired. They want to sit. They want to engage with something, right? You want a glass of water. You want to eat something. When you're in a mall, you're in a very different space. You want to walk at 4 lakh square feet, 5 lakh square feet, 3 lakh square feet, 20 lakh square feet mall, and you get tired. It's important how we make the journey easy. So again, when we look at technology, I think every mall today offers a easier way to navigate through the mall. Instead of running around here and there, okay, we say, I have a mall directory on my map. I can quickly go search and reach there. The products that are offered by the consumer, heat mapping is another thing that I think a lot of us are using, which helps us understand which zones people are walking in, right? So when leasing happens or when we handle churns, it's important to understand, can we create zones, where to populate the cafes. If one floor has 2 cafes, the other floor doesn't have cafe, it's important that we populate those little joints across. So I think the technology works in hand, in tandem with us. Consumer behavior remains at the core of our business. Also technology in terms of, technology, there's another thing. It's not different. I mean, we used to make phone calls. We still make calls. The landline has converted to a mobile phone. So the behavior remains the same. I would also want to touch upon things like using technology. Now, imagine digitization. How much of digital screens do we have? How much of energy do we consume? So one side there is energy, the other side there is environment. So I think it's important that we keep the consumer convenience at the core. We create experiences for the consumer. And I think our friends, our brands do a brilliant job in terms of delivering great service to the consumer. It's great and it's heartening to see the amount of training levels, the amount of efforts that go behind training our front-end staff, because ultimately a mall might bring in 10, 20,000, 40,000, 80,000 consumers, but ultimately the maximum time that a consumer spends is inside the retail stores. So a mall working in tandem with the retailers, understanding what technology and what experiences are required, I think that's where the whole game lies.
And it further enhances the customer experience.
Absolutely.
So Mahesh, I want to understand from you that it does enhances the customer experience, but does it also helps in increasing the sales at the mall or the stores?
Thanks. I was recovering from a bad throat, so bear with me. So as every speaker was talking, and I was just looking back at the 17-year journey we have from Pune, and we run a furniture and interiors mall. So for us, more than footfalls, conversion matter, right? Because we work on revenue shares with quite a few of our brands. And so if the retailers do well, that's when we do well, apart from the MGs and all that. So way back in 2017, 18, we found a very serious problem statement that people are coming in, but conversions were not happening the way we wanted to. And this is despite we having close to about 100 brands from all over the world, right? So we said this has to be handled, and like you beautifully said, it's about consumer behavior, understanding the consumer, but more importantly, how do we handle in a low-cost manner at the same time with a personalization touch. So in fact, arguing on one point, we decided that every customer will be treated as one. So there'll be a segment of one. So we said that for every customer, we'll give a concierge kind of service, right? So the customer books an appointment online, is able to come to the mall, received by someone, goes to a tech-enabled kiosk, undisturbed by people. He knows what is available where, the navigation part, that's also taken care. But most importantly, if conversion has to happen, the walk-in has to be converted into a prospect, and the prospect has to become a buyer. So we focused a lot on sharing what to buy, where to buy, through a curated trail. So this was something that was a service design idea, which we converted with a lot of tech and human intervention. So there were our service scouts, as we call them, and there was tech in terms of what to buy where. You needed sofas in leather, these are the 5 stores from which you'll get. You need dining tables in glass, this is where you will get it. And that trail could then you can scan a QR, take it on your phone, and walk to those stores. And there are people who are there to receive you. And then finally, we were able to track it all the way to conversion, because the customers were met by us first, not the stores. So the mall team met them. And then because we were in touch with them, they were in touch with us. So we were able to see that there was a significant increase in conversion all the way up to about 40-45%. And that's high considering that the average ticket sizes are about 65,000 bucks. So people are coming in to furnish their homes. We believe that we should tell them what to buy and where to buy, and with a lot of human touch and also a lot of tech. So the curated trail, which is physical and digital, sort of helped us in this journey. So that's about it. Thanks.
So we have understood how tech helps in enhancing the consumer experience, how it helps in sale conversions. I want to understand from you, Sunil, that when we go to the mall as a consumer, the main problem what I face is parking. So huge queues, long lines, we have to wait and then park, and then find a parking spot and then park, and then find a lift and then go to the mall. So it is a hassle for consumer from it's from a consumer's lens I'm talking about. So what solutions are you deploying to solve such issues?
Okay, so to start with, Charu, I think important that all malls have to give an experience. So when we analyze, a mall within 3 kilometers has 70% of similar brands. Why should a consumer come to my mall and not go to that mall? Is the experience, but experience is very subjective, and the mall which will do better is who can use technology to standardize those experience. I think that is the differentiation that tech can make to a mall. So when I look at it, it has to be like McDonald's. A burger comes in 2 minutes. When a consumer comes in a parking, can he get in 2 minutes? Can he get out? And a very important point that you touched is parking. I think parking is the first entry and the last exit. So the experience when he enters and he exits is very, very important to help him understand his overall experience. So when you come, like everybody said, nowadays with technology, there's FASTag which gets integrated. We've added automatic number plate recognition. So what happens is now it's a ticketless entry. Earlier you have to have a person who will come give you a ticket. So now you just enter very easily. It takes half the time what it used to take earlier. And I think the A-grade malls, bigger size malls, also like we've got in our flagship mall, we've got your sensors. So there's sensors in the parking. If there's a car parked, it's red. If there's no car, it's green. So you can see a color from far and you say, let me go there, that's where my parking, it becomes easier. Same at the exit. So you've got options of paying through your FASTag, you've got options to paying online, you've got option of paying card. So it is much easier for a consumer. So the entry and exit time and the ease of understanding a parking slot, I think makes a big difference to a consumer to decide where should I go. Also, I think how your parking is lit as an experience while tech is there. How is it lit? How easy is it to navigate to your nearest entry exit to the mall? I think both of them go hand in hand, and that's how you create an experience for a consumer.
Definitely. Ashish, if you can add to it, is there any product available in the market maybe which can actually help retailers as well as shopping malls simultaneously?
First of all, I would like to thank all my panelists, especially from the shopping mall developers, who actually talking about the parking. And I really thanks and glad to know who paying the attention towards the parking. If I look at the horizon from last 15 years in the industry, in the shopping malls, the parking is growing up. As I say, is changing is the nature rule. At the same, we are applicable since 2000. We are changing toward the technology adoption in the parking. Earlier, we was used to with the manual tickets, then the barriers comes, then the ticket dispensers comes. Now, from last 4.5 years, we are experienced about the more focus about the FASTag and the number plate camera, as Sunil said. Uh, Parking is not just only to provide the facility in the malls, and the customer experience is always on the top priority for the developers. As the parking is the product, also give the advantage to provide more features towards the shopping experience and give more attraction and the, let's say, the marketing programs towards the retailers. Let's say most of the retailers are following that one. If you shop more than 5,000 or 10,000, you will get the free parking. But that's okay. But how you will handle through the tech point of view in the automation to adopt into the parking, that makes the accountability. This is number one. Number two, most of the malls, especially DLF and the other size of malls and the Phoenix and Lulu, they all the times they keep going in the events are going on in the mall. How you handle such kind of events, because always the event organizer says, okay, I want the 100 car park free for my show. Then either you handle such a manual things, show the slips at the entrance, but the way how we adopt the technology in the such a way with the automation through the QR code, through the number plate cameras, which makes your traffic easy, not to make a waiting at the entrance and exit to the other customers. As Sunil said, that the customers always the ease of the experience in the parking. Uh, the way we are going into the digitalize. If I would like to have a tea on the tapri outside the mall, I love to pay by the QR code rather than pay the cash. And this also help the making our exit queueless, especially after the show time, which makes our parking choco block for next 20 minutes or 25 minutes. Other words, parking is not only the revenue. Of course, this is the second highest revenue in the mall after the camp, but this also give you the data. Like Mr. Rajendra said, the data, whosoever the customer coming into the parking, you can utilize their data by the number plate camera and the validation at the retail shop, as well as the cross selling you also can offer in the multiple way to utilize the marketing activity. Let's say I would like to see in my mall in last 1 month what day, what time the vehicle flow was on peak. Most of the as a common thing, I will say Saturday and Sunday in the evening time, but we have been experienced most of the time in the Friday in the evening time between 4 to 8, which is the highest peak time. According to that, we can utilize and allocate our resources towards the parking, which gives the more comfortable to the shopping mall as well as to the retailers in terms of the adoption in the technology, how to use the parking product in such a way.
Thank you, Ashish. We have beautifully touched upon what technologies the malls are using. But Pramod, I want to understand from you, in future, what technologies the malls can use actually to stay relevant to consumers.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Charu. Thank you. Basically, we have to understand when we are thinking of mall has a lot of rigidity. Okay, why I'm highlighting the main part, because majority of us suffer from that. Majority of the mall developers, as they say, we become intelligent once we have made the mistake. And in case of real estate or shopping mall, the cost of mistakes and the cost of changes is very high, which includes, going for re-sanction and several other things. So how can you reduce your mistakes, or how can you become slightly more intelligent than your previous mall? So this AI and data analytics and all that helps us not only design the mall, but also plan for the most suitable tenant mix for that catchment, number one, as well as what we can basically do is that we can have design in such a way that which we are able to create modular, not only space, but also services, because these malls are not created for 1 or 2 years. These malls are created for years, several decades and all that. The moment you have those kind of flexibility, then what happens? You are able to configure the mix as and when the dynamics of the consumer behavior we are able to see. Like we saw post-COVID that apart from retail fashion, suddenly we saw food and entertainment started getting momentum. So it's easier said than done that you can shift one fashion store to a store of F&B and similarly entertainment. So these things have to be planned. And what we have seen, not only in retail, but also in residential and other industry, that our briefs are much better. Our briefs are sharper with the help of AI tools, which we are using. As a mall developer, I personally feel that we are not there to do too much of technology, which Rajendra was also mentioning, that, till date, even the mall developers have not been able to get too much of data. But what our job becomes very important is that the kind of infrastructure, the kind of digital infrastructure which we create helps all the retailers achieve their objective for which is future proof. Having said that, we have spoken a lot of topics on this data and all that, but we have to be also mindful that now this Digital Personal Data Protection Act has also come, which is going to restrict a lot of us to, especially smaller players, to get explicit and specific purpose permission for a specific period from the consumer. Then only you can do digital marketing to these guys, and personalized offering have to be made. We have to be mindful of that. And what we have also seen, that too much of data has also created some kind of uncertainty in the mind of the consumers. So we have to draw a line somewhere. In our malls, like we are running 6 malls in Eastern India currently. For the first one started more than 2 decades ago. What we have seen is that the mall's objective should be to create memories, lasting memories for the consumers whenever they are visiting our mall. So majority of our malls have got this open format, other than this closed format, air-conditioned spaces. So in future mall, other than the digital infrastructure, what we should also plan, like in our case, what we are going to plan is that large celebration square of more than 100,000 square feet, which is going to be tech-enabled, so that consumers are also able to enjoy all kind of events, promotions, and concerts, which are not even soundless kind of thing, which every mobile owners can tag themselves and work accordingly. What it does is that apart from shopping, which is very, very important, crucial for the mall, we are able to improve not only the frequency of the mall visits, but also we are able to improve the dwelling hours in our malls. And all our events, we organize our events throughout the year, which are all centered around fun, food, festivities, education, startup, everything, anything to do with consumer, which can bring consumer one more time extra and have good quality time and create lasting memories. This is what we focus on. So this is what I have to add.
So technology is going to be a game changer, but there is going to be a stop till the time where the brand or the mall can deploy technology or intervene into a consumer's life. Right? Yesterday, I was speaking to a mall professional, and they said they're planning to launch omnichannel platform of the mall. Right? A app where all the stores will be there, and the consumers go and shop, and within 1.5 hours, they are claiming to deliver to the consumers. So one by one, I want you all to take this question, and how feasible do you think it is for malls to go omni-channel? Because when we talk about going omni-channel, there are many players which are already there in the market who are serving the customers all these products, not all these, maybe a lot of them, within 15-20 minutes. So malls going omni-channel, how feasible it is from the technology point of view? Mahesh, we'll start with you.
Tough question to start off. So we've tried this, and so far I should say that on a scale of 1:10, we are probably at 3 or 4. Getting all the retailers to come on board to become part of your marketplace, let's say the omni-channel platform that the mall wants to create, is challenging for many reasons. So I'm not going to do too much, but I'll probably talk about 2 reasons. The first reason that we have seen, which typically comes up, is that the entire hard work in terms of acquiring information or data from the retailers is very difficult to get, right? So that process itself is long, is arduous. They may be very happy to probably share it with maybe a marketplace, but the moment we say that we as a mall are going to enable you and we're going to help you to get additional sales, and obviously when they do additional sales, we want a percentage of the revenue. So when we want information, especially pertaining to the product, the SKU details, the whole, the value chain as we call it, we don't get them as easily as we want to. The second thing that we have seen is that there's also a resistance to treat you as an omni-channel platform, right? So it's a mindset. So there's a lot more to do with retailers believing. It's changing, of course, slowly but steadily, but it takes a lot of time and effort. They believe that no, हमने जगह दे दिया, we've given you space, you're given a space, leave it there, and the rest of it is going to be done by us, leave it to us. So right, so that's a very practical way of approaching it for sure by them, and I've been on the other side for a long time, so I appreciate what they do. But when we actually want to enable them to do more sales, And if we're providing a tech-enabled platform for that, we already have the physical system. All we are saying is, hey guys, this is where the touch and feel is already available to you. Add the digital layer to it, and your sales will increase, your conversions will increase. As of now, today, I'd say that the journey is probably only begun. Maybe a few more years. That's my take on it, please.
Mr. Kalkar.
I think I beg to differ from him. There are at least 15 vendors who are already there operating in India in a plug and play model. If you want to start omni-channel as a shopping center operator, there are at least 200 retailers also who have a plug and play model if you want to start an omni-channel for the mall. The problem is not technology right now which is existing, the problem is the economics of this business model. If you have to adopt all these technologies today, they are little expensive. Over a period of maybe next couple of years, the technology will become conducive and affordable, and it's only a matter of time when practically every mall or every mall operators will have an omni-channel which will be at par with all the e-commerce. The difference lies is what each mall then decides how to create a USP for that particular omni-channel or marketplace platform, how they bring about that attraction which would lure a customer away from other established market players and from your product category or from your offerings or from your schemes or marketing or loyalty. It'll all play a big part from that perspective, but it's only a matter of time. Some malls have already started it, and you will see soon everybody getting into this bandwagon.
What is your perspective from tier 3 markets, Gopala?
Yeah, when you look at the omni-channel, what I think is, so what can happen now and what can happen in the future? So like he said, plug and play. So what can happen now is, see, you have e-commerce guys, and then you have the brands. Brands are selling online. So now it's very important. We have signed a couple of agreements with the brands. So what we are pushing in the mall now is a digital checkout. For the hypermart, they buy everything online, they pay, and then it is ready. The moment you enter the mall, there is a delivery kiosk. So we're trying to push it with all the brands. And then the next one is geo-tagging the store, right? You have a franchisee sitting in the mall, customer is coming, going into the trial room, taking the photographs and ordering the same thing from the brand website or the e-commerce. So leave aside the e-commerce, at least the brand sale has to be geo-tagged to the store, and the mall also should get the revenue share in that. So this would help. This is the current situation of what you said, this is smaller steps. The future, what I foresee is the way the stores are designed. So when you see the way the store is designed today, I think 50 to 60% of priority is given to displaying stock and the sizes, stocking. So 50% is for the display, 50% is for the stock inside the store. It should evolve into a display center in the future. So that's what I believe should happen. So it will be a display center where lesser real estate is used, or the same real estate is used to display n number of products, and then probably mall should provide bigger godowns for the brands. And the next thing is seamless integration. The customer walks in, and I wish to see at least 6-7 pads where, or you can just scan the store QR, and then the next problem is the stocking at the physical store. So when this is seamlessly integrated, so you have higher stock in the godown, nice display center, and then seamlessly integrate, and then you can just buy it, and then it's delivered at the house. I think this evolution will take place. And then my wish is that there is no online offline, so everything is phygital. You buy online, pick up in the store, you order in the store, pick up at the house, and then you order online, the store is geo-tagged and he gets some this thing of it. I think this kind of a piece should, in the end, I think that's where it's going. I think everyone should make peace with this, and then the mall should push for this. I think that's the solution for the future, I think.
Madhu, do you also say the same thing, or do you have a different point of view? What do you want to say?
No, no, when I started talking on this topic at the start, definitely I agree with what Rajendra and definitely Gopal has said, and definitely to add on to that, how we can increase the dwell time, how we can bring in more, a better customer experience. How can we get him in plethora of choices? Because these days nobody, with the habit of just swiping up, down, left, right, everybody wants a choice every next moment. How are you going to provide that? It's impossible. Now that's where tech comes into play. That's where digital kiosk, you have smart mirrors, you have details. With this, which will definitely come in sooner, because everybody wants, whenever a customer enters, to make a purchase. That is more important at this point of time. Omni channel is definitely going to be there, and it's going to play a much larger role going forward.
Would you like to add something to it?
So, see, it's very clear. I think there is no debate. The word phygital is a reality. The fact is that omni-channel exists, is going to get better. We need to put our thoughts together on how to make it more efficient, easier for the consumer. I don't think there is a divide between online and offline, and all of us shop both. Uh, let's see how we order food. We order food from Zomato, but we also want to eat out. Only eating Zomato is boring. Only eating out is not feasible. And I think same applies to any omni-channel. It applies to grocery, it applies to everything. We love OTT, but we also love the cinema experience. So I think it will coexist. We have to work on seriously the supply chain. The retailers have a challenge that real estate is a cost. Stocking capacities are to be looked at, which I'm sure everyone is working on. And that's where e-commerce becomes even more important, so that if the back end can supply efficiently, our ability to run retail stores is better. We are more efficient to give experience rather than creating 300 square feet back rooms in storage areas. I think people love click and collect. Let us also understand from the consumer perspective, few years, decades back, the decision making and the funding was done by the parent. Today it's shifted. The funding is by the parent, the decision making is by the children. So, and the children or the younger generation, they are completely driven, their decision making is influenced by e-commerce or the digital space. So it's very clear. It will coexist. It's good to coexist. We have to see how at the malls we can embrace both. Click and collect is a great tool. Offering kiosks is a great tool. We are only exposing consumers. It helps us cut down castle lines, trial room lines. You wait for a trial room, you have an AI tool, right? You see yourself in the mirror, okay, I look great. I might not have to go into a trial room and wait. At the same time, I have a facility of exchange. God forbid the size doesn't. So the whole ecosystem works together. It never works in isolation. So I think that's how it really benefits consumers. So it's a win-win. And it's time. I mean, today, we all want to reduce carbon footprint. So electric cars are coming in, but the cars are expensive. So the demand supply is very different from what we need. I think technology is the same. And I agree with Rajendra that technology is at a cost. It'll happen. See, evolution is a huge thing. We've all evolved. So I think it's evolving and it's for good.
So the malls will go omnichannel in the future. Sunil, what you have to say?
So I think two things I wanted to talk about. First is when you asked earlier, what is the new technologies that the mall can do now? So when we went back to the drawing board, we understood we are analyzing everything that is internal. Where a customer is coming, what is he doing, how is he doing? But in the end, a consumer is coming for a brand. And while we've got intelligence in the market of what brand we should get, what mix we want to do, it is important to have tech. So we've tied up with a tech company who gives me data saying in the vicinity, this is your demographics. This is where the consumer is going. They've got geofencing, geotagging, they've got MasterCard data, what business happens, and then say, hey, in 2 kilometers, there's this high street, and these are the categories that work. This is where the consumer goes. So I go back to the drawing board because the mall starts from what brands you get, how do you want to target? Is it time for me to upgrade? Will I get the right consumers? So we've gone to that level and trying to understand where is the consumer within the vicinity shopping, what category does he shop for, what brands does he shop for, and if that is required, because I have expiries that come in. So that's the time I ensure that I use that tech, I use our own intelligence and progress towards getting that brands over there. So it ensures that I get a higher footfall in a new consumer who was going somewhere. Two, in terms of omni-channel, I think yes, I think price is a big question as of now, but we face challenges. So it's all in bits and parts. Like Manish said, it's click and collect. So all those things are there, but can the mall become an e-commerce site? The biggest hindrance that we faced when we went to the retailers was how do you get the stocks online in a store? On a site, e-commerce site, they've got a warehouse which is separate and everything. They come to your mall and say, you are liable to get whatever I have in the store. How do you get real-time data? That's something, the stocks, which is difficult. There are 5 consumers trying in the trial room. It says it is available in 2 minutes, it is not there. So that's a part which is difficult to crack, but if we crack that and economics work, I think going forward, it is important to embrace that.
Anup, would like to add to it.
Yeah. As far as the omni-channel is concerned, I truly agree that the physical and the virtual are going to coexist. But there is something which physical is never going to die. That should be the bottom line of it. Because, it is not just ordering online, even if whether it is food or whether it's an apparel, there is something called look and feel. And the customer behavior largely depends upon this, and malls are being an aspirational center, they always try and get people along to showcase the product. And once the product is available in front of them and the look and feel is there, if you really compare what is the satisfaction index between a physical buying and an online buying, I'm pretty sure all of us will agree that the satisfaction index in physical buying is much more than what is there in online buying. So both will coexist. There'll be a competition, and this competition is very good. But here comes the future. What is that? That while physical stores are operating, we can assist them with a lot of technology. For example, just now we have started one very good thing in our mall is that hands-free shopping. Like you choose here and it's delivered. So
the malls are using technology in-house. They are collaborating with retailers.
Yeah.
But the thing is that if the tech and the money allows, and if the cost comes down, then the malls are ready to go omni-channel.
See, it'll always be there because malls will have to go. They cannot leave aside the omni-channel business. Virtual mall is going to be the future, but the physical appearance is not going to die.
True.
I'll just add here. It's just that what Rajendra was saying, that this is not, at the moment, it is not viable, but in the time to come, it is going to be viable. We as a mall developer, we cannot invest heavily in technology, neither in logistics nor in the retail business. But what we can do is we can become an aggregator provided we have a scale. And with the expertise of all these segments, we can become a proper phygital center.
So Ashish, last question from you. If malls goes omni-channel, how the parking solutions are going to change then?
Of course, the revenue will goes down because as soon as you will go with the omni-channel, you will get the less customer in the mall, and it's also the impact on the parking revenue. What expecting from the number of vehicle inflow, it's definitely impacting on the other side also.
Cool. Thank you so much, panelists, for a wonderful panel today. And if you have any questions, then you can please meet them outside. We are running short on time. Thank you.